immersion, flow, and usability in video games. Games are becoming more and more popular both in research and in general usage. In 2020, close to 2.7 billion people played video games, and this number is expected to exceed 3 billion by 2023. On average, players play between 14 and 22 hours per week, and it represents one of the main leisure activity. Games are also able to provide highly immersive and enjoyable experiences to players, but what is really immersion? Many concepts such as flow, engagement, immersion, and more are used to describe the player's experience in games. All these terms represent different concepts and ideas, however they are all related to how players are drawn into the game. What I focused on was immersion and flow in this study. Both concepts focused on how much the players were in the game and to what extent they noticed things happening outside of it. Usability, which refers to how a specific user in a specific context managed to achieve a specific goal. This concept is becoming more popular in games, especially now that games really evolved into more complex detail and large systems. The question that I ask myself is, how do these different concepts interact in games? And how do the aesthetic and appeal of the game can come and influence it as well? But I couldn't find any study that focused strictly on the interaction between immersion, flow, appeal, and usability in games. But what I found in the literature was that usability and appeal are linked, so good usability can predict good perception of appeal. Usability is linked with flow. Immersion and flow are linked also, as stated earlier. Appeal helps improve the level of immersion in the game, and immersion influences the general appreciation of the game. So what I wanted to measure is, does usability improve flow and immersion in games? And can appeal bridge the link between usability and immersion? So to verify that, I used a playtest of a first-time user experience with an open-world action-adventure game. The test took part in a video game studio lab, and 20 participants took part in this test, which lasted for 3 days, which represented roughly 15 hours of gameplay in total. At the end of the third day, they filled out a survey. This survey was composed of the system usability score, the immersion score questionnaire, the flow short scale, and the appeal section of the attractive, plus one general appreciation score. First, I discovered that usability was correlated with all the 7 scores from the appeal section of the attractive questionnaire, with correlation ranging from 0.38 to 0.53. Then I also discovered that usability had a positive effect on fluency of performance, which is one of the 2 flow scores. Learnability was correlated positively with absorption by activity, the 2nd flow score, and general appreciation score was positively correlated with immersion and the 2 flow scores. And finally, what I consider the most important part was that usability had a significant effect on both appeal and immersion. Appeal also had a significant positive effect on immersion. We then ran a mediation analysis, and we observed a total mediation effect of appeal on the relationship between usability and immersion, which means that once appeal was added as a mediator in the model, usability didn't have a direct effect on immersion anymore. We also found that usability had a positive effect on both immersion and general appreciation. We then also saw another total mediation effect of immersion on the relationship between usability and the general appreciation score. So what these results might imply is that if the game is usable, the perception of appeal is greater for the player, which then is going to result in a higher level of immersion. And also usability makes you enjoy the game more by making you feel more immersed in the game first. Thank you for your time, and don't hesitate to send me your questions if you have any.